So systemic changes, I think, are inevitable. Work assignments will change. We really have to be serious about what we're going to stop doing. And it is my goal, as we did over the last 2.5 years of the recession, that we're going to try and keep everybody working to the best of our ability. I can't promise that, but that is one of my goals. What are some wild cards as we move ahead? Enrollment and retention. And that is everyone's business. Mine, yours. We have Wildcat Weekend coming up. I was told it's the largest one we will have in records. You should show up. I work here. Let me tell you about why this is a good place. Okay? There shouldn't be any question about departments going, well, should I go to Wildcat Weekend? I mean, you shouldn't even ask yourself that. We'll have a number of events that have to do with recruiting and enrolling students, a lot of retention types of things. But we really, this is the piece, where, losing 1% or 2% simply adds to the budget problem. Our goal is, can we break even in enrollment in fall 11 and winter 12? We have to protect our assets. You'll notice the new signs that have gone up on 7th Ave, out at the golf course. We're in a situation where we have money now to redo the dome, the Jacobetti roof. The attraction of having a first-rate campus is critical to enrollment and retention of students. We are going to move ahead with Jamrich and the Johnson controls. We need to look at program development and revenue stuff, and you've heard me say this often, and you've all responded really, really well. We just need to keep up the effort, continue to innovate with programs that will attract students and provide them an edge in the workforce. We don't know what federal legislation is going to do. I shared with you the continuing resolution in the House. There will be continued activity. I believe, and I always mix these up, the earmarking process, I believe, is either a 1 or a 2-year moratorium now in the House and the Senate. They're very serious about $100 million or $100 billion reduction in the federal budget. A lot of that influences us in terms of student aid, research, program activity, just a lot of different things. And so even though Washington, D.C. is far away from here, it doesn't mean they have little impact on us. State legislation, we're going to obviously be engaged in that fully. As my testimony before the House is March 16th in Lansing. We have not gotten the date yet for the Senate, but certainly it's all on the fast track if the governor wants to meet that particular goal of June 1. The way it looks now, the budget will go from the governor to the Senate, to the House, then to conference committee to iron out any differences between the Senate and the House, back to the governor for his signature, and then the budget that begins on October 1 by the governor's plan will be done by June 1. Our expectations, we're going to develop a model and distribute that to the university by mid-April. As part of that process, we need to meet with all of the labor groups so that they fully understand what the issues are and what the challenges are. Perhaps have a discussion about some of those key issues. We'll continue to monitor state and federal legislation. And as you would suspect, if we can take some reductions in 2011 by June 30th, we will. Clearly, changes will be implemented July 1, 2011. You're going to experience a little bit different process, and I wanted to just take 1 minute and tell you what that is. All of my 7 years here, we have held innumerable forums to gather input from you to build our reaction and response to the budget. Because we are at this systemic challenge, where ideas have to be big and far-reaching, most of the options available to us are what I'll call interdisciplinary and inter-unit now. You just can't reach into a silo and do something and then move to the next one. And so, as I told you earlier, we do have our playbook from last round of budget cuts. We have been looking at some very large systemic pieces, and my plan is to put a model in front of you in mid-April so that you will not see me holding forums and meetings and gathering your ideas, etc. We have a lot of that information. We are going to put a model together and then put that model in front of you in mid-April, and you'll have two things to do. Number one, critique the model. But I'm going to ask you to do it in a different kind of way, and obviously you can do it any way you want. But one of the questions I'm going to ask every person here at Northern is, before you critique the model, ask yourself, how does my work life change under this model? You know, don't say, well, it's better them than me, or not in my backyard, or not in my department. But I need your input on the influence of the model on your work life. Going along with that will be a critique of the model. I think we can achieve our response in a successful way, in a much quicker way. And I know it's a change in habit under my leadership, but I think now the issues are just big. And I'd rather use my staff's time putting this piece together, putting together our research, getting something in front of you so that we can talk big issues. As we move ahead, life is going to change. You just ought to assume that. And NMU is going to change in significant ways, and I think that my fundamental assumption is the quality and value that we add to students' lives will not only stay the same, I expect it to get better. We'll respond to the model and its influence on your work, as I just said. And our reputation in the region and statewide and in Lansing is that we don't panic. That's our reputation. We always have delivered a high-quality curriculum because that's the heart of our reputation. And we're going to continue to add value to the student experience outside the classroom because that's our reputation too. And I know that you'll work with me and the team to get this done. We have a very, very big challenge in front of us, but as I have always said to you, I would rather have you around me than any other group of people that I have been around in my entire career. We will do it, and we will respond well, and we will serve our students. I just wanted to close by offering you a look at our mission, because we are going to challenge students and employees to think independently and critically. We're going to develop these lifelong habits. Our students are going to acquire career skills. We are going to embrace diversity and become productive citizens in the regional and global community.